Hey, what's going on, guys? John here. In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly why you should not buy a condo and why it's going to be a horrible, horrible investment for you in the future. Please comment, smash the subscribe button, and like this video. It'll help boost the video up in the YouTube algorithm, help more people see it, and less people invest in condos. Because eventually, what's going to happen is the people that buy these condos are going to regret it. And this is why. Rule number one, real estate investing, is you want to own land. And the reason you want to own land is because supply and demand dictate price. So what this means is that the population in 1900 in America was only 76 million. Now it's 330 million. So you have 330 million people fighting to own their own piece of the American dream, land. And what happens? They not all can afford it. So the price continues to climb. It's only going to increase in the future. Even if right now the market's at its all-time high, it'll dip down and then it'll pass our current high, just like all recessions before us. And so that being said, you setting a goal to own land, you're going to do so much better than buying a condominium. Also, when you own your own piece of real estate, your own land, you're the dictator of your land. Essentially, you can do what you want. You can move in and move out. You can have friends stay there. You can do whatever you want to do at your property. When you own a condo, you own air rights. You don't own any land below it. So you just own the air in your unit, which then brings the next question. Can you do what you want in your unit? The answer is no, because the HOA, the Homeowners Association, is essentially the dictator in the building, and they can tell you and make up new rules whenever they want. The HOA can vote on it. If it passes, that's the new rule. They can say no short-term renting, no long-term renting. You can't have friends over after this hour, and no noise complaints after this hour. 3 strikes and they can issue you a fine. They can make up all these rules, and if people vote on it, you're stuck. That's the new rule. In addition, you're paying them to make up these rules for you. These rules can charge a couple $100, maybe $200, $300, $500 a month, or as high as a couple thousand. I have a friend that owns a multi-million-dollar condo in West LA. He's paying $2,100 a month for his HOA. He wanted to move out of this unit, and they needed 2 weeks notice. 2 weeks notice for him to move out, and they only gave him a 3-hour window to move. Because he bought a property and he just wanted out of the building. He was either going to lease the unit or possibly sell it. He wasn't sure. But he's worth a lot of money, and to deal with that type of issue is kind of crazy. You own this multi-million-dollar unit and you can't even move out when you want to move out. And in addition to all that, what happens in a recession? In a recession, people are cash poor. And so when they're cash poor, they don't have money. And property values decrease, especially in condominiums and single-family houses. People over-leverage themselves, and a lot of people will walk away from their property, and the bank will foreclose. And at this point, now they're just competing with everyone else in that market. And with your case, with a condominium, everyone in that unit, everyone in that building. And so you have 1 person, 2 people, 3 people that end up walking away from their units. Now this hurts your comps. And what comps are is a comparable analysis that real estate agents will use to help price out the unit appropriately to sell. So when a buyer comes in to buy this unit, the buyer's going to be aware of all the other units, what they're selling for, and they're going to use that information to make an educated decision on what they should buy your unit for, because it's nearly identical to the other units in that building. And when they go write the offer to purchase your property and they put 20% down or 10% down or whatever they put as a down payment, the bank is then going to send their appraiser out to the property to verify and to confirm the price that they should lend on this property. And if your property is not worth a lot more than all these other units, then you're going to be priced at right around the other units. So these other units affect you dramatically. So what happens? Now you're stuck. You have all your money in this condo and you want to get out. You can't do a cash out refinance. You can't take money out of that unit because you don't have the equity. And then now you don't really have anywhere to go. In addition to all of that, if you want to lease out your unit, now you open yourself up to the other issue of, if that one tenant stops paying rent, now you're 100% vacant. You have to pay the mortgage and the HOA fee, and you could possibly deal with problems with the HOA if this tenant's problematic, maybe makes a lot of noise, or whatever the case may be. The HOA can come down on you too. So you have all these outside issues that are now brought upon you for owning a condo. And in addition to all of this, it makes way, way, way more sense to take a step back and reevaluate your options as an investor. Should you go out and buy a condo? What are the upsides? The only upside I see is if you are highly successful and publicly noted, everyone knows you, you might have paparazzi issues, or you have just a lot of attention and you don't want to be in a gated community, then a condo could possibly work because of the concierge if it's a really good building. Or if you are really successful and you have a business that has offices in New York and in San Francisco, and you want to spend 6 months in each location and you don't want to lease an apartment, then that could possibly make sense. Or if you're retiring, if you're 65 years of age and you don't want to deal with a landscaper and running a house, a 4,000 square foot house, you just want to have a big condo, that could possibly work. Outside of that, there's no reason to buy a condo. There's just absolutely no reason to buy a condo. Those HOA fees are only going to continue to increase over time. And these HOA fees are based on the cost of managing the building, assessments, anything that comes to the building, any new fees, anything that's associated to that building, everyone is pitching in to pay for it. So over time, those fees are only going to increase. And the way that you should be looking at this is if your HOA fee is $500, put that into a mortgage calculator, see how much additional mortgage debt you could assume for $500 a month. It might be $100K, it might be $100,000 of an additional purchase price. You could then qualify to buy a multi-unit property, which is where I believe you should start first. Don't try to live the nice lifestyle of assuming more debt and more liability to your life if you're now renting. You should be looking at multi-unit properties. I'm talking about 3 units, 4 units, anything below 5 units. So 4 units and below is where you want to be, because you can buy this with a lower down payment, loan, 20% down or below. Or if you go 5 units and above, that's commercial. You're gonna need 30 to 40% down. But you doing this spreads out your risk across multiple doors. So with a condo, that one tenant stops paying or you have that one issue, then you're pretty much stuck. You're responsible for the debt and the responsibility for that unit. If you have a fourplex and one tenant stops paying, then you still have 3 other tenants that are paying your mortgage and the debt and everything associated with that property. You're still probably at a break even or probably profiting if you bought a good deal. So you're way better positioned. In addition to all that, over time, rents only increase. The average is 3% a year. So you're doing 3% a year on 4 different doors, you're way better off than a condo trying to do 3% a year when the HOA assessment is probably going to be maybe the same. So with all that said, I highly suggest taking a step back and thinking about buying land. Think smart, think long term, and don't think about buying a beautiful condo to impress your friends and impress people when you could then position yourself, buy that fourplex, and then save up money. I'd probably live in one of those units, do like an owner-occupied loan, live in one of those units, rent out the other 3, set yourself up, save more money, and then buy another building, and then that former building is going to take care of everything. And then if I wanted to buy a condo 30 years from now or 40 years from now, I could run out and buy that sick penthouse in Miami or in Florida or in New York City or San Francisco or LA. I could go out and buy this, but otherwise it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I've seen during the last recession a lot of really successful people get absolutely crushed by their condo investment. A really good way to look at this is buying a condo is kind of like buying stock in a company. And what happens in a recession is that stock prices go down, and with a condominium, you're buying stock in one of these units. So one of these units, if the property values go down, it's going to highly hurt the price of the stock that you now own, being a condominium owner. So definitely take into consideration all of these items that I just mentioned, because I believe you taking a hard look at all these options is going to way, way outperform your financial future considering the multi-units as I previously suggested. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again for watching.